This is the Bottom Line Sports Show with Gerald Brown and Rick Mahorn.
Imagine you trade a Chet Holmgren for a Giannis Antetokounmpo.
These guys are athletic as you know what, and you go like, oh my gosh, where's the fundamentals? Where's the pass first mentality? That's not in the league anymore.
And now here's your host, Gerald Brown and Rick Mahorn.
What's up, everybody? I got to bring this person up because you know what? So many people have been asking about him. He's back. He's back on the scene with a gangster league. You see it. Give him his love. He's been gone. Give him his love. Rick Mahorn is back in the house.
You got two
Rick
more
Mahorn
minutes.
is back in the house.
You got two more minutes, man, before I have to come there and slap the crap out of you.
Rick,
What up,
first
G?
and foremost, how you doing, man? I haven't
I'm
seen
good.
you since the Pistons lost, man.
Yeah, it's shit happens, so it is what it is.
Rick, why you doing that? But you doing all right.
Wait a minute, hold on. What, Gerald? Don't disrespect me. Did that dude win a championship that's on your shirt?
I'm channeling my inner New York.
Man, all right. Well, after seeing the mob and all that stuff up there, you know what? I'm glad for New Yorkers to really, enjoy themselves, but don't, can't have the hooligans, man. Can't have that BS, man. That other BS. This is sports. This is not going to beat up people. You're mad at stuff like that. I mean, it's a game. That's soccer mentality sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is unfortunate, and I'm glad you mentioned that because there was a space where, these people started acting up, and it really just takes away from everything, man. It takes away from the fact is that, you know what, the city has been revived and energy and, small businesses have been able to make some money. It's been, a renaissance for something that hasn't happened in quite some time. And, all it takes is one individual to mess it up for everybody or individuals. But nevertheless, we're speaking about the NBA Finals, the pregame show. Definitely, without further ado, let's bring on our guest. And this is a gentleman, Rick, that I've always said.
He's ugly. He was ugly?
He's a professional.
He's ugly.
No, he's a professional. He's a professional.
Look, he got a hat on so we don't see his hairline.
Don't matter. He's a pro's pro. One of the best shooters in the NBA history. Best shooter in the Knicks history. Best in NBA history and in the history. I'm going to give it to him. I'm going to give him his flowers.
Who are you talking about? Craig Tucker?
No, this is Craig Tucker.
What up, Trent?
What's happening, man?
Man, it's so good to see you, man. I mean, this ugly dude I got to deal with every bi-weekly, whatever it is, man. How you been, man?
Things are good, man. You know how things on y'all end.
Man, getting old. Getting old ain't easy, boy. I remember my mother telling me, "Boy, wait till you get old." And I feel like, look, it's bedtime for me.
Like you say, some days, every day I wake up, I'm trying to figure out what's going to hurt next.
Yeah, man. So Trent, I know you being a former New York Knicks player, are you enjoying this run right now?
I'm enjoying this run a great deal. It's great to see that this team now is in a position to win a championship, and the city is on fire. The city is very excited, and it's great for the Knicks fans, to have an opportunity like this to win a championship for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. Trent, man, it's always great to see you, man. And there's so many memories and stuff. And I remember MJ said, she said, oh, he remembers you. Because I said, obviously, he probably wouldn't remember me at all. But I got to ask you, just going back, when you look at, obviously, this run that these Knicks have been on, and obviously you were an incredible shooter. What are your thoughts on the shooters like Landry Shamet and Miles McBride? And if so, what advice would you have for them moving forward?
Well, they are critical because, with their outside shooting, it's going to open up the lanes for, the slashers to have some room to get to the basket, but also it's going to open up the inside game for the low post players as well. And Rick knows this. When the Pistons were making their run, they had a guy by the name of Joe Dumars who could knock down those jump shots consistently. and open up those lanes will allow those other players now to have some room to operate.
Yeah, Trent, you're right. You got to have versatility. And, when you look at the Knicks, I mean, I don't know if it's any low post game down there, but it looks like Brunson's the low post player. He gets down there and starts that little herky jerky. What is it about the way that we see the league now instead of having a Ewing in there or Elijah or just having a big guy that you used to seeing like Yamba, who is a different type of big guy. What I mean, you see the difference from then and now.
Well, the game has changed dramatically because when we were playing, it was played inside out. Now it's played outside in because the big guys are away from the basket. It's more of a European style. They pick and pop instead of picking and rolling, and that's why you see so many small players now making so many plays around the basket. It's because they don't have that big defender back there to turn them away.
Trent, and this is something I want to ask both of you guys, and I think, Rick, we had talked about this before in terms of when you're on the road as opposed to being at home. And we witnessed the first game the other night with the Knicks. The crowd so much was in. And I remember I was talking to somebody, and they was talking about it. It says a different element when you're on the road because you don't have, per se, the distractions from the fans, family, stuff. Talk about that, and just do you think that might have had a role in that game, game 3 at the Garden? I'll start with you, Trent.
Well, that first game home after a long road trip, to me has always been a big adjustment because all the things you just talked about. Now you got to get adjusted to, a different lifestyle. You're back at the family, you got friends, you got kids. So all of a sudden now you just can't, go to the hotel, take a nap, just get ready to play basketball. There's so many different things now you have to worry about. And especially at this time of the year, when family comes into town, everybody wants to go to the game. You're trying to get, tickets for everyone, making sure that you don't leave anybody out. And, that can add some stress to your game as well.
Well, getting a Knicks ticket, boy. I mean, come on, Trent. This is the money they making now. You might as well just go ahead and buy a section. But and Gerald and Trent, going to the finals a couple of years. It's is it different being home? I rather, we played at home, and when we swept the Lakers, I don't at that particular time everybody knows to leave you alone. For me, it was like my family knew don't mess with me. They understand I'm working, and if they needed something, I had we get an allotment of tickets. But man, I'm gonna tell you right now, is it a distraction? No, it's no. I'm like Dorothy. It's no place like home. I like my ruby red slippers. I just want to stay at home. But because it's something that we do after. After we stop playing. Is it an adjustment? Yes, because you're not on the road as much. But it was never a distraction for me as being, winning the championship because it was like I was glad to be home, man, because I ain't feel like going back on the road, staying in a hotel. That stuff gets on your nerves.
Yeah.
Well, I know when I was in Chicago in '93, we had a chance to close out Game 5 against the Suns. There were so many things that they were asking the players to prepare for after the game was over,
Mm-hmm.
and we never got our mind right to play. And the Suns come in and win Game 5, I think by either 12 or 14 points. Now we got to get back on the plane and go out to Phoenix for Game number 6. So, for some players, being at home is a great thing for them. But I know that the run I made with the Chicago Bulls, Game 5 coming back home, was a major distraction for us, and we were not prepared to play Game number 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That-
I to piggyback on what you said, it can be frustrating if, especially if you're married and you got your kids and the kids want to be. I mean, that's the fun about the enjoyment that I had as a player, that I can make better choices for them. Hey, you can come to the game, blah, blah, Dad, I'm okay, or I'm sick, I'm not feeling well. I mean, that's part of life, period.
Yeah.
So basketball to me was always secondary to my family.
Yeah, that really stands out. Guys, I'd be remiss not to ask you both, obviously, your thoughts on the unfortunate passing of Stacey King and Trent. You played with Stacey. Obviously, Rick, you did battles against the Chicago Bulls and Stacey Kings. Just your thoughts on just the life of Stacey King and the legacy he has left. I'll start with you, Trent.
When I got the news, it was sad news to hear, and B.J. Armstrong gave me a call and let me know the passing of Stacey King. And to me, it was a tough day because Stacey and I were pretty close when we were playing in Chicago together, and and all the good things that he has done for the city in terms of with his broadcasting, and he's maybe the best broadcaster, play-by-play guy they've ever had, and they've had some good ones in the past, but it was a sad day and sad news to hear about Stacey King.
Yeah, I'm like you, Trent. Some of the security guards that are up there, Vern and the guys that's been there for a long time, became friends of mine. And Nick, I get a text that morning, and between him, Eldon Campbell, and we're losing a lot of our soldiers. I mean, we're at an age now. Back when our parents was like, gotta go to the funeral, your Uncle James or somebody else passed, and your aunt somebody. And you know what? That's why it's a blessing that we can, share thoughts today, but we don't know what tomorrow brings for us, man. And Stacy was just, every time he said, "What's up, boy?" I'm sitting there going like, "Go ahead on that little country Oklahoma accent." But when I heard it, I being a broadcaster and seeing him when we play Chicago, him and Bill Wellington. I just said, these are soldiers that we've had, and you don't never want to hear the news because we're going we're on the clock too.
Yeah, we're definitely in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm. Nah, I'm in the third quarter. I still got hair. No, it's just it's just when we lose someone, from guys that played before us. Like I call it old school Tuesday. I'll call it Bobby Dandridge. I'll call Earl of Pearl. I'll call these guys that I know, Spencer Haywood, guys I played with, and I'm going like, man, we talk like time ain't passed. And when I look at it, I talk to the guys I bought football with in high school, and I ain't even know it's 50 years since I've been out of high school.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I talk to Trug Robinson, at least 2 or 3 times a week. And so, it's always nice to stay in touch with old friends and guys who was mentors, to you when you came into the league. And Troy was a major mentor to me when I got to the Knicks.
Well, mine was other than Wes Unseld beating my ass every day in practice, but Big E talking to Elvin Hayes, talking to Iceman, my hero, just talking to these guys and reminiscing, and they go, and then Bob McAdoo text me and say, "Y'all going fishing tonight?" I'd be sitting there going like, "Oh," or Cedric Maxwell, guys that I had to battle with, and all of a sudden I'm friends with them. Oh, quiet! Daggone dogs make all this noise today. But it's losing our fellow brothers, and and losing my fellow sisters, Kara Braxton, who played for the Shock, and we won a couple of championships with her in the WNBA. It just, it's called life be lifing, but you never want it to stop.
No, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Trent, I want to start, and I want to ask you guys this really, because obviously we know that the Knicks, obviously 2 games away from possibly winning a championship, just like San Antonio Spurs. And Trent, you went from New York and went to Chicago and had an opportunity to be a part of that team that captured the championship. And Rick, you have a championship. But I want to ask you guys, at this stage, when you're this close, what does it really take to win a championship? I'll start with you, Trent.
You always starting with Trent.
Hey,
no. Here you go. Hey, Trent, won't you get a bigger jersey? That thing look real tight.
Hey, you see it?
What? Yours don't say Ewing. It says doing. Where'd you get that on Delancey Street? Go ahead, Trent. I'm sorry, man. He get on my nerves.
I'm sorry, Trey.
I mean, it takes great execution for one and poise and control. But, at this time of the game, and Rick knows that your best players got to be at their best. Your best players have to play at a very high level. They're going to have to make plays after plays and then set other guys up and put them in a situation where they can make it a basket or two and make a difference in the game. And in Chicago, we all knew that, Michael had to get 35 to 40 points for us to have a chance to be in the game with someone else maybe stepping up to make a shot at the end to close the deal. But if your best players are not at their best, it's hard to win at this time of the season.
Well, you telling me that? I mean, I look at the Pistons, and we had two All-Stars on there as well. Cade did what he could do. Like you said, you need that other. You need the Batman and Robin. And the
Yeah.
fact of the matter, we had Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas, and Zeke was our captain, and Joe did what he had to do. And then you had Lambeer. It's going to be, what they're going to give you, but you got to have the consistency of the guys coming off the bench
Yep.
like James Edwards and Vinnie Johnson and John Sally and Rodman. We had guys that, we knew each game. We never looked at it as 4-game series. We looked at it as each individual game because somebody could get hurt. Something can happen. And you don't know, instead of saying, oh, we can win 4 straight. No, you got to win that game that's in front of you. You don't worry about what's after.
Yeah.
It is something there. Trent, what do you think the keys to victory for Game 4 for the New York Knicks? What has to happen for the New York Knicks to win the Game 4 and go up 3-1?
I think for one, they got to take care of the ball better and not have those unforced turnovers. But also, they need to get up to a good start. They need to build some early confidence, get that crowd into the game, put some early doubt in the thought process of San Antonio that this is going to be the New York Knicks night. And I think if they can find a way to bring their early energy and get off to a really good start, I think that should lead them to victory.
Rick, what do
I
you
plead the fifth.
What do you think the keys for the Spurs?
I plead the fifth. I don't give a damn about neither one of them. All right. You said my name's Oakley. I'm like that.
Oh man, he called me today too, man.
Well, he called me the other day too. So that's what I'm saying. See, Trent, that's the love we have with each other. Seeing you and then knowing that you had a cousin named Craig Tucker. Man, that dude was so funny, boy.
He's really good.
How's he doing?
He's doing real good. He moved back to Flint.
Oh yeah, you tell him he's banned from Michigan. He can't move back here.
Yeah, he and his wife just moved back to Flint probably about a month ago.
Man, send me Gerald. Send me the Tucker's numbers. That's what I want. Make sure, because I got to. And I've talked. Who did I talk to the other day? Mark Sag Nasty. Mark Macon. Bacon, whatever. Man, I sit back, like I said, I try to reach out to these guys that you sit there and you go like, I wonder what he's doing. And then you get in touch with them, they make you laugh and smile. And, just like you're making me smile because it's like we battled. But that was the court. It was 48 minutes. I ain't like you. You ain't like me. I don't like all this old.
Because you just hit that big old button, get Jeff Malone wide open.
Man, man, Jeff Malone. Hey, you had to go around and not through.
No, I between you and Jeff, really, there was no going through.
Oh man, we used to run this one play where it looked like you was gonna shoot the gap, and we closed the door. Boy, you'd be hurt just trying to go through there. And Rulin and I were just talking about 2 days ago. Like I said, that's my brother for life right there. Him and even Lambeer. Talk to him, and he's still an asshole.
Yeah, see, that's why I love playing with Truck. Truck used to tell me all the time, just run your man off of me, and I'm gonna get you open. And so you're gonna have time to sit there and fix the scenes before that guy can recover. He used to. I know, Garden Jones was always tough, but then when you had you and Rubin setting those screens, Man, that was a living nightmare for me,
You
boy.
you can't do that no more. They'll call a foul on you. But I'm out.
I know.
Peace and love to you, dog. Hey, make sure I get his number, Gerald, with that
I'm gonna say that
title.
I'm gonna
What you
get
gotta
I should
make sure you put
his number.
the E back on your shirt so it can say you wing and not wing.
Trip before he let you get out here. Rick got to go because you know what? He's got to get his applesauce, and you know
Yeah, I
what?
gotta get my applesauce and crackers. And you right, I'm gonna get it too. Love you, boys. Love you, both of you guys, man. I'm out.
Trip,
All right,
before I
man.
let
See
you
you,
get
Rick.
out, yeah,
All right.
Trip, before I let you get on out of here, and I'll make sure I send MJ his number, and she'll be able to connect you guys and stuff like that. But I wanted to just
Okay.
close it out and ask you in terms of obviously you have a lot of sweat equity in obviously these Knicks and stuff, and really the history and just obviously the challenges that ensued trying to get to this mountaintop. If this team is able to go on and win a championship, what would it mean to you and perhaps also to obviously all the Knicks fans that are out there?
I mean, a great deal. I mean, because once a Knick, always a Knick, and you feel the energy and the passion of what the city is dealing with at this stage. You know that these players are under a great deal of pressure, a major microscope, and they have a chance to do something special. And as an ex-Knicks player, I'm just pulling for them, day in and day out to get the job done. I know it's going to be a hard task to close out the San Antonio Spurs. They're a very talented basketball team led by perhaps the most unguardable guy in the game. But overall, I think the Knicks have the personnel to get the job done. So I'm pulling for the Knicks to win, a championship for the first time in a long time.
Yeah. Trent, I got to say, you know what? I got to give you your flowers. And I definitely wanted to make sure I mention this to you because yourself and obviously tremendous individual, Louis Orr, man. I can recall you guys were individuals that really had such a positive impact because, again, very quiet individuals, but really I saw what it meant to be a professional and somebody that had obviously black and brown descent, a professional. Why was it so easy, or how was it for you to make that adjustment to be that professional? Because obviously you were very well respected, sharp as you know what I'm saying, clean, everything like that. What was it about just being understanding and having that mindset of being that professional and really being that leader for the Knicks team?
You talk about mentors, and I mentioned Trug Robinson, being a big time mentor for me for a long time, and he still is today. But my first mentor, to the NBA was Julius Dr. J. Irving. And when you talk about somebody with class and understanding what it is to be a pro, and having a chance to spend some time around him, on a continuous basis, he taught me a lot of things about being an NBA pro more so than anybody else. And at that stage, to have a chance to sit and talk with the doctor was something very special. That's what kids were dreaming of, hoping one day to play against Dr. J. But I had the luxury of playing against Dr. J and also becoming, a mentee of his as well.
Yeah. Do you still have the Hershey with almonds? You still do the Hershey with almonds candy bar?
Say again.
Do you still do the Hershey with almonds candy bar?
Yeah. And so, it's like you mentioned, having those people in place allows you to grow as an individual. And I was very lucky to have those guys in place.
Yeah, I was mentioning about the candy bar you used to always ask for before the games and stuff like that. I need a Hershey with almonds. Make sure I had a Hershey with almonds and stuff.
I always get that Hershey bar before the game started.
Yeah.
Now that I've kind of changed my diet, I don't have the Hershey bars now. I do more of dark chocolate, so instead of the milk chocolate.
Okay. What was it? Obviously, you made it. You obviously went over to the Chicago Bulls, and obviously, I don't know, was B.J. Armstrong your rookie or so? B.J. and I talk quite often and stuff, and he always speaks so finely and so highly of you in terms of the impact and being a part of that team, and just really, again, just nothing but high regards for you. What was it about it? Obviously, was he your rookie?
Yeah, he was a young guy that I talked to a lot and hung out with. And, when you come into the league, as you mentioned, there are guys who are going to be in place that's going to help you grow. And the one thing you ask them as you move on, how can I ever pay you back? They said, just pass on the knowledge. And if you're ever in a situation where you can influence the outcome of a young person's thought process to keep it positive and look at things totally different, see a different way of doing things that can help them to become a better person, not just a better player, but a better person. And so for me, I had, that leadership and that mentorship in place. And then I was lucky enough to be able to pass on the things that I learned as a young player in the league.
Yeah. So you didn't have to pop him upside his head a couple of times, did you?
No, we talked, we had some hard conversations every once in a while, but that's what a big brother and a little brother goes through. And BJ has always been a special friend of mine. And he's a guy that time and time again, I don't think he gets enough credit of the impact that he made on the Chicago Bulls in their first 3 championship runs. He was a clutch performer. In '93, we asked him to guard Kevin Johnson, the late Kevin Johnson, who was a handful at that point guard position. And we told him time and time again, with those great shooters that they had, along with Charles Barkley, he had no help. You're going to have to defend Kevin Johnson by yourself. We know that you are not going to stop him every single time, but in crucial moments, we need for you to make 1 or 2 stops. And he was able to do that to give us a chance to win a 3rd championship in 1993.
Yeah, I think he actually ran into Kevin recently up, in Sacramento and stuff like that, and up at Kevin Johnson's restaurant. And so they shared some talks and stuff like that. Really enjoyed, being at what he's been able to accomplish up there in Sacramento as assistant GM with the Kings. But BJ, first class individual and stuff, and just like yourself. And Trent, I'll let you get on out of here. And before I let you get on out of here, how many games do you think it's going to take for the Knicks to win it all?
It needs to be 6. It needs to be 6. The Knicks don't want to go to San Antonio for a 7th game. So tonight is a critical game. It's a game that they need to win. They know they need to win. And then to make sure that when they come back home for game number 6, if they don't get game 5, this is the night that we can close the deal out.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Trent, listen, all the best, man. Really, really appreciate everything outside of this from the ball boy standpoint. Because I was a young kid from Harlem, man, and really just having individuals like yourself, Louis Saw, God rest his soul, Charles Oakley, Mark, and Rod Strickland. I had Rod on last week. Just really was so instrumental to me because, again, you just saw, if you will, individuals that, again, I could aspire, maybe not to ascend to the level which I did on the basketball court, but just really how you conducted yourself and carried yourself. And I saw that and I observed that, and it was so impactful to me. And I say thank you, thank you, thank you. And also thank you so much of your time this evening. And we look forward to doing this again down the line.
You know that. You just, hey, anytime you need me, just call. I'm here for you because you were always there for us as well.
I appreciate that. Trent, all the best, man. Appreciate the time.
All right, man. Same to you. All right. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Trent Tucker joining me here on the Bottom Line Sports Show. Unbelievable. So, yeah, I got a lot of jokes from Mr. Rick Mahorn about my shirt. But I think what I said before, the keys to this game for the game tonight. It's this game for, and the keys for the Knicks is to really be able to settle in, right? This will be like maybe the extra quarter. This is the 5th quarter, hopefully, and you've gotten the opportunity to really just settle in to the game and get back to who you are, and that is being a team that at the end of the day takes care of the ball, really shift some things up, see a little bit more ball movement, really see a lot of more ball movement, really have Karl Anthony Towns back into being the big facilitator, allowing him to really, again, be a little bit more active. And, also, too, and again, maybe we'll see something like Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns at some point out on that court to really sort of combat Victor Wembanyama on the offensive glass and really just help protecting that basket. We saw too many times in game 3, it was really, Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle, who are amazing, really getting to the basket, where they didn't have too much resistance protecting that basket, getting to the basket. So definitely would love to see something more of a rim protector, and really hopefully the Knicks be able to do that and make the little subtle adjustments to get back to who they are and what they were able to do. I think that really speaks volumes. Now, as far as the Spurs, listen, the recipe for the success for the Spurs is plain and simple. When you have Victor Wembanyama establishing himself in that paint as opposed to on the perimeter and working inside out, it is a very recipe for success, because obviously when Wembanyama is around that paint, he's going to garner all the attention. And then what he's able to do is be able to have that ball move from the inside out, and having it move around and reversing that ball will help. And the unique thing about the San Antonio Spurs with their young core of guys, they have guys on the perimeter that can create their own shots. So getting those guys going, but they all feed off of Victor Wembanyama. So I look, game 3, he did an excellent job. Established himself in that paint. And then once he did that, he started to drift out and start to be able to knock down shots. So it'd be really a key for that, to be able to handle that. And the biggest thing is, like everybody said, when it goes back to the Knicks, you got to get off to a great start. You got to get this crowd engaged. You got to feed off of that and really try not to exert so much energy. And it's always something I worry about teams when you have these sort of epic moments where the game is, again, so much electricity. It's kind of like when you see the beginning of a Super Bowl. The energy, the adrenaline takes over, and you just see, simple plays made so difficult. So I'd be very curious to see how the Knicks respond to the crowd and basically get back to the essential things which they have done, which is take better care of the basketball, make sure you get a high-quality shot, and obviously ball movement. And look, Jalen Brunson is the man, okay? But I think clearly right now with Jalen Brunson, a lot of people saying that he has to get himself, he's got to get going. But I think really what happens and what will help with Jalen Brunson is perhaps maybe trying to play off of Karl Anthony Towns. A lot of the times in game 3, as well as 1 and 2, you saw Jalen Brunson doing a lot and really trying to establish to set up the offense and looking for his shot. And a lot of the times it came at the expense of the others, Karl Anthony Towns. A lot of dribble, and then looking for a shot. And then, with the shot clock really under 5 seconds, you got to understand, San Antonio perimeter defense is very, very strong. Stephon Castle, they're throwing different guys at big body Brunson. He's got to be able to facilitate and, better yet, throw the ball into Karl Anthony Towns at that high post and allow Karl Anthony Towns to facilitate, get better ball movement, and allow Jalen Brunson to play off of that and look for a shot, get in the offense, and get things into a nice groove and a nice rhythm. The Knicks will be fine. This is a big game for them. It's a lot of pressure. We know it's clearly you don't want to go down. You don't want to be 2-2 headed back to San Antonio, trying to win another game after capturing 2 down there. It could be a very, very big challenge, but do believe the Knicks will be able to do it. Hey, listen. This is the NBA Finals preview show. Get you ready for the game. Game is about an hour away. I don't want to take any more time. I got to get ready for the game myself. You know what? Like to thank you for tuning in. Like to thank Mr. Trent Tucker. And he's back. You saw him. The one and only Rick Mahorn. I'm Gerald Brown. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on X. The original Gerald Brown, GeraldBrown, and on Instagram, G Brown Sports. Once again, appreciate the time. Go New York, go New York, go New York. No, I don't want to do Trump. Go New York, go New York, go. Enjoy the game. Let's talk about it afterwards. Bottom Line Sports Show is out.